Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain and welcome to the Girl Meets World review. Last time, we took a look at a not terribly plot heavy episode that just felt like a way to lead up to this moment. But this time around, stuff. Lots of stuff happened. Big time spoiler alert now, as this episode will be covering quite a bit of vital information, so you know the drill. With all that said, let's jump back into nature with Girl Meets Ski Lodge Part 2. So we kick things off right around where Part 1 ended, with Riley and the new kid on the block, Evan, having talked for quite a while. Yo Ross, how long did they talk exactly? This naturally leads to more than a few questions from the other members of the main cast, as well as a little bout of jealousy from good old Ranger Rick. This leads to an interesting conversation that Lucas has with Maya about why she poured a smoothie on his head the last time they tried dating, which does have an interesting answer. This interaction is paralleled by Josh talking with Riley about how Maya has been going through changes and why. At the core of everything that Maya has been going through was the fundamental need to protect Riley and ensure that Lucas would be good enough for her. Even Lucas and Josh have a conversation in this one. Not exactly an everyday occurrence, but it works here. This leads to the return of the official guide to Who Belongs with Who, which, as Mr. Matthews correctly points out, is an evil book. This game doesn't last too long though, as it's used as more of a way to emphasize what certain priorities are for different cast members, as well as why they feel the way they do right now. And after being overly absent during the back end of Season 2, we finally get another genuine Farkle-Smackle moment. I know they aren't exactly the pair most people spend a lot of time focusing on, but when they're happy, I'm happy. And that's good enough for me. So Maya is through playing around and confronts Josh about her feelings, and possibly his own, as well as giving Maya a clear explanation of why she sort of became Riley as a means to ensure that Riley would be safe with Lucas. In doing this, it becomes clear to Maya that not only doesn't she like Lucas anymore, but that she never really did like him, at least not romantically. So Maya talks to Lucas and sends him to Riley with her blessings before Maya and Josh talk more about potentially starting a relationship someday. The whole I'll be around and you'll be around thing feels a lot like the Robin and Ted promise from How I Met Your Mother. So, if the similarities are intentional, then we can more or less conclude that it'll end well for them. And then we arrive at the penultimate reveal of the season, and for some, maybe the entire show. Lucas finally, after years of stringing us along, chooses Riley. And of course, Riley accepts his choice. But the interaction itself felt very genuine and really captured both the enthusiasm and the underlying fear that comes with the start of something new in ways unique to the characters present. So I liked it for that reason. It seems like the obvious choice in retrospect, but I'll explain why I expected this to play out differently a little later. And so the episode concludes with Riley getting together with Lucas, Maya kind of getting together with Josh, maybe, and perhaps most importantly, Farkle and Smackle staying right where they are. Friends, it is with great pleasure that I proclaim an end to the ship war, and officially mark this day on the 29th of July as the day the love triangle finally died. And I won't miss it for a second. Oh yeah, and turns out Evan is, in fact, Lauren's son, which a few of you definitely anticipated on the last review, so nice predictions there. And that's Girl Meets Ski Lodge Part 2, a much better episode than last week's lesser of two halves, and it has everything to do with the fact that so many plot points regarding relationships have finally been put to bed. This episode doesn't have a lesson or a heavy emphasis on plot or narrative, it's all about talking things out and getting things done. But why did I expect things to play out differently? A few things. 1. I assumed Maya and Lucas would eventually end up together as a means to develop two very different characters and balance them out. I don't think my reasoning was off base, but I do believe Maya and Josh when they come to the realization that Maya never liked Lucas in that way. And 2. I was emotionally preparing myself for that first point and what it could mean for Riley. I thought that it could potentially open the door that would lead her to landing with Farkle, which would be hilarious given how their respective parents used to interact. I'm glad this didn't happen for the obvious reason of never wanting to see Smackle get hurt, because if that did happen, then, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I would have been able to get through a full review. Watching Riley Town was hard enough, but if I had to watch Smackle break down, geez, that would have been the end of me. All in all, I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of episode personally, but I did like how everything resolved in this one, and I also like the fact that for some people, this just might be their favorite episode yet. This one really is for the fans more than anything, and you do need episodes like this, so I'm glad many of you enjoyed this one in particular. But you know me, I'm already looking ahead to see what kind of interesting stories and character arcs they can draft utilizing these newfound relationship statuses, in addition to how they will play into the much larger coming of age issues that they've promised us down the line. But I don't want to take away from the moments present in this episode, because there were a lot of moments that weren't just good or potentially very memorable, but well earned and well deserved, because the minds behind this show worked very hard to establish a lot of character narrative beforehand. If you've been watching the show, then you know exactly why everything plays out the way it does, and it'll bring you that much more joy knowing the background details leading up to these moments. And it is fitting that a lot of this romance is being resolved right now, because the episode coming up is Sean and Katie's wedding in Girl Meets I Do. It'll be a 2-week wait for that, but it should bring a lot of old cast members back and should be a fun time for all. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, throw it on a like, sub for more cool videos, and share this video all over the internet. And don't forget to follow the Disney Brain on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Links down below. The coming days will bring a results video for Civilized War. I'll do everything in my power to upload that video on Sunday specifically, because I promised a certain birthday girl that I would. After that, we're jumping back into Boy Meets World to take a closer look at how good Season 3 really was. And then, we'll count down the top 5 worst DCOMs ever made. The comment that earned the most amount of points from Civilized War will pick the next review. So after that video, then maybe, just maybe, we'll take a closer look at Twitches. I'm really gonna regret this, aren't I? In any case, lots to look forward to. Until then...
Mr. Matthews? Yes? My mother says hello.
I'm never coming here again.